I'll start with Jeff Meyer at the far end. He's already been mentioned. He's a recent award recipient. And he looks at neurochemistry. You know, I mean, neurons are living things, so you think it should be neurobiology, but the way they function is chemical. And he's particularly interested in depression of many types, you know, including postpartum depression, severe clinical depression, and so on. So Jeff, if you could enlighten us a little bit as to what you're doing and where you're hoping to go with it.
Well, I think it'd be fair to say that one of the areas that we're interested in investigating is that there are certain sort of neurochemical endpoints that seem to lead to getting a clinical depression, but it may be that the route by which one gets there is different. So some people, it may be that being in alcohol withdrawal might be a vulnerability point to getting into a depression. For some people, it might be that having a history of neurotoxin use in younger age might be a different route by which people might grade a vulnerability to depression. And one of the areas that we're interested in the imaging front is understanding the different routes by which people could end up being vulnerable to depression. And then it may be in the longer run that we will have different forms of treatment depending on the route by which someone ends up getting to a depression. Right now we tend to use a very similar approach, but I'd imagine the long-term picture will be that we'll identify these subtypes of situations more carefully and then have more tailored treatment and would anticipate better results. I think on the stigma issue, I think one of the ways that research can contribute is that when people understand how illnesses come about, for example, you know, when someone's got, say, an illness that affects brain chemistry, and you do studies to say, okay, here's how the brain chemistry works in an illness, people get less intimidated by an illness, and I think it destigmatizes, and that's the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of people. Say, okay, I'm glad that you're understanding how things are when I get ill, because this helps people understand what it's like for me to be ill, and helps people understand that it's not just what I'm saying, but there's also some brain changes that go with this. And so I think some people find that research can be a helpful tool for assisting with destigmatization.